Hey guys, welcome to another interview with the UrbanCred Podcast. Today we'll be talking with Mr. Keith, aka Keefro. It's like Afro, but minus the A and replaced with the K. Keefro. And he is here with me to talk about some stuff relating to his sudden rise in stardom in YouTube, Instagram, and anywhere else you can find him. He's a product photographer. He's out in Australia. Crikey. He put his stuff onto Instagram and now he put it onto YouTube. So it's moving pictures. So it's basically the same thing. And he's really passionate about everyday carry items. He shares his thoughts, his packing setups, and he shows off his appreciation for exciting products. And he had 2.5K-ish subscribers last time I checked. And he's uploaded about 107 videos so far. So that's a lot of videos. And they're all professionally shot. They're all professionally done. And you might as well call him like a supermodel for product photography because he's just like knocking it out. This is Keith. I've been talking too much. Welcome to the show.
Hey Ed, thanks for having me. Love the intro.
Yeah. I've been practicing that for 5 minutes. 5 seconds actually. And Keith, we had an interview last time. It was very embarrassing because I was not, at least this time I practiced for 5 minutes. Last time it was terrible. It was awful. I was a terrible host. And then Keith here decided to go to Hong Kong just to cleanse himself of that horrible experience. But Keith, before we dive into that, retreat to just clean yourself of me, let's get a little bit into, I want you to introduce yourself from your point of view. And then let's see for the 2, 3, 4, 1 person who doesn't know who you are, give them like the rundown of like who you are, man.
I feel like you covered it very well. I guess for those who don't know me, I'm a product photographer from Australia. I just started shooting random products and things in the beginning. And then I guess during COVID, we all went through a phase of just exploring our hobbies and interests. And that's how I started the whole deep dive into the world of everyday carry and showed off the things I had, cool products. And it really just grew from there. And here we are.
Yeah,
doing everything.
He went straight to just talking with me. We were just talking about how this time I prepped a whole bunch of questions, and Keith mentioned it's like, what was it, like 20 questions or something? It was like, what was it called? Asking 20 questions or truth or dare?
It's like a dating game kind of thing.
Yeah. Hopefully after this podcast interview, you'll 100% know what Keith is like in real life. What underwear he wears. Does he like to stack underwear? What kind of bags he does. Does he put bags and bags and bags when he travels? And let's jump into the first question. So, Keith, how did you start this journey? I feel like that's such a cliche question, but just to give people a little bit of a context, because everyone just loves to hear that origin story.
From the very beginning?
Maybe just fast forward to that just before you started. I decided to be a photographer, and then I decided to do YouTube, just like that kind of process.
Okay, so I think I'll start from the photography journey. I think that's probably like the more interesting thing. Okay. So back in high school, didn't know what I wanted to do, like everyone. And it was a trip to Hong Kong in 2010. That's how long I've been shooting, like 13 years now. Yeah, it was a trip to Hong Kong when I first picked up my kind of first DSLR camera. Started shooting everything like street photography, landscapes. Yeah, just documenting my whole trip and just shooting the whole trip on like auto, not knowing how to use a camera. And yeah, that trip really changed my life. And ever since then, I've been hooked on photography. And yeah, it's just exploring different genres, shooting landscape, diving into portraits. And then I guess towards the end of uni, that's when I decided to do my own photography for businesses and brands, which involved doing like product photography for brands and just through photography as well. It was a whole mix of different things. And then I guess as I kind of started doing that as my main gig, I was slowly burnt out from just doing all client work. I didn't really enjoy it too much. And then just around the time when COVID started happening, everyone was like stuck in lockdown, isolating at home, and I didn't have anything to do. So I was like, oh, okay, let's just take some product photos as a break from client work. And the whole kind of setting up in the garage that you see on my Instagram, the nice concrete floor, and just taking photos after photos, posting them online, talking about them, sharing my thoughts on them. And I guess we slowly snowballed into doing more video work, which eventually, I guess, in the past 2 years, I tried to do a bit more YouTube and product reviews side of things. And here we go.
Great. And that sounds like a very exciting journey from being burnt out to your garage floor. And but if you guys have seen his photos, that garage floor is it's like amazing. It's like the perfect backdrop for the kind of shots you'd be doing. So it works out, and it shows that it doesn't, maybe you just need your floor to take really good photos. So
yeah, I think it was just making use of everything I had rather than spending more money on their backdrops and paper backdrops and all that kind of stuff. So just trying to be resourceful, especially when you first start and you don't have like a nice camera or like any cool lighting gear. It's like just create. Like,
yeah. What would you say, like, if you had to do it all over again, what would be like the first, what would you do differently? Would it be like investing to like a really good camera, or maybe invest into mediocre camera, but like investing to lights and backdrop stuff? Or like, what would you do differently?
I feel like my answer is slightly different because I came from like a photography background. So
yeah,
I think the most important thing is props.
Okay.
Sometimes props make or break it. For example, styling props is like a different kind of, it's a skill that I haven't really mastered. I just pick and choose whatever.
You like, you just throw up and then like you just toss it onto the that's picture.
Well, sometimes I guess in my case, I try to make sure things work well together. For example, if it's like a kind of sleek and technical kind of bag, I'll use some high-tech product like carbon fiber accents or like stainless steel, matte black. Kind of make sure everything works together. And then the other example would be like some like really earthy tones. I'll match things like a field notes or some like leather goods. So it depends on the two styles. I try to keep it just 2 to 3 styles rather than other things, or else it just becomes a big mess. And consistency is like a huge thing that I try to focus on.
No, that makes sense. I think it's just on a retail side of things, it's interesting because when we display stuff, maybe if it was at a window or if it was like or even if we source products, there's 2 options, right? One is to just get what you want or what you think is cool, or other is to get things that you think that would match the rest of the shop, the rest of what you source. Because if you Hello Kitty and then a very highly technical product, it doesn't quite match unless it's made for that. It's specifically meant for each other's kind of demographic. So it falls into that kind of. Even it seems like regardless if it's photography or even like business on our end, it's you just got to get stuff that matches the aesthetic of that scene or of that shop, so that it's consistent. You don't want inconsistency.
Yeah, and I feel like those props and accompanying products need to push the main focus product or service rather than standing out too much and deterring from like the main focus. So I think that's the key takeaway.
Yeah, and I think And for the viewers or listeners who have seen Kifro or Keith's stuff here, if you go to his Instagram or his YouTube, it's definitely very consistent in terms of the style and the look. And it gives that, what is it called? Something like, it's like his brand identity, where it's just his style, his look, and the consistency makes it look more professional rather than just inconsistent kind of types of media. And I think for us, when we, like right now, I think we're trying to play more with Instagram content and stuff like that on our end as well. And in the beginning for us, we're kind of trying different things. So we're trying to see what works well in what form and so I think we're doing some more short term, but on our page, on our, what do you call it, the grid, to try to keep it consistent. And then I think we're doing some more less professional shot stuff, but kind of like TikTok style videos, but for shorts and stories. And then we're trying to, for me, I personally think we should try to keep it separate, but I think we're early enough in the stage where it doesn't matter and we're kind of tossing just to see what works and what doesn't. Do you think when someone comes out of the gate, starting off their Instagram, like professional channel in a professional way, do you think they should keep it consistent to one, or should they try to experiment and then see what happens and then worry about the consistency later on?
I think you should definitely experiment. I think depending on your kind of like niche or industry, sometimes one format doesn't work on the other. So really, I think experimenting is definitely the right way to go. And once you see results from one style or one form of content, I think that's when you double down on that, try to produce more of that.
Do you, because I feel like your journey compared to like people like Peter McKinnon or other people, like their journey has been, it's been so long, they nailed it down. And then if they wanted to try something different, it doesn't matter because they have such a loyal fan base. For you, do you think that you need to spend a lot of time continuing this consistent format before you're able to try different things or feel safe to try things? Because sometimes, like if I'm looking at something and then suddenly something different pops up, or a different style or something, like pulls me out of the immersion of that kind of persona. Do you think that that's something that you'd worry about, or you think that it's okay to maybe experiment a little bit, not stray too far from the style, or I'm going to stay consistent with this style, with this look until I feel comfortable with my followers or whoever's with me?
That is something I've thought about recently.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because at the moment I'm shooting in my garage floor and that place can get dirty really quick. And maybe I'm drinking coffee and he'll accidentally put it on the floor and like destroys the floor.
So that's the end of the can't use this floor anymore.
Yeah, so that's like the end of it. And like, I realized that shooting in the garage, there are lots of limitations. I have to like move the car out of the garage and everything's clean, and there's a lot of maintenance to get that look. And I know there's like a limit to how long I can actually shoot in the garage before it's like, I call it, that's a rest. That's I don't know, like 5 years of content done. Time to move on. Time to move on from this lovely garage. But I think, I've been looking at different setups and things and try to incorporate it into the brand and make the whole thing look consistent and slowly phase out the garage floor. Whether it's, I've got like the gray backdrop now, this YouTube studio, so it's really exploring other content rather than focus on the visual look now. Because I feel like the visual look, I think the concrete floor specifically is like, it'll come and go. But whereas me as like the main focus of the content, I think I need to evolve as well. And it's just moving away from that concrete floor nowadays.
Yeah. And you can shoot your future videos on your chest instead of the concrete floor. The focus is you after all.
Yeah.
So then that's the future. Let's say, let's talk about for Instagram. Everyone has a first photo and everyone has a second photo or most recent photo. Everyone talks about, their first photo is like so cringeworthy 10 years later or something. Is that the same for you? Can you tell me, you're looking at the first photo, that I could have done this better. I could have done that better.
I think for sure. Like when I first, do you mean like when I first started photography? Like those?
No, just like we're talking specifically about your Instagram photos.
Oh,
your very
Instagram.
first Instagram. Yeah.
For my very first EDC post to now,
Yeah.
there's not much difference. It's maybe just a slight tweak to the edit, but lighting wise and prop wise, it's identical.
All right. Let's change the question. Let's go back to the question you just said. Your very first photo compared to your most recent photo. Let's do that instead.
Oh, like the very first few photos I took in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
I'd say out of the thousands I took, probably like a couple were like memorable and actually look somewhat okay.
Okay.
I was just shooting like auto, like just hands free, let the camera do its thing. And
take
not
the
understanding
wheels.
anything. Yeah, like shooting nighttime for a beginner, like you don't know what you're doing, but your camera's like taking forever to take the photo. But it's just like there's not enough light, and the shutter's just open, and you're just moving the camera. So it was a bit of a learning curve, and yeah, there are a lot of things back in the day. I experimented a lot, especially with like flight photography. There's a lot of stuff I've practiced at home, like shooting, I don't know, just random products and testing things. No one's get to see that, and it's been a very long kind of behind the scenes of testing and implementing into the professional work side of things.
Yeah. When are we going to see those photos?
Some of them are on my personal Facebook page.
Okay.
No, them are like online anyway.
Oh, okay. We can't find
hidden.
it. Guys, we can't find it. All right. The interview's over. That's the whole purpose of this interview. Just to find his secret, terrible first shots. Okay. So obviously, recently you've changed from photography to videographer. How was that? What was the thoughts behind that? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it's for me, it was like a very interesting transition. Because like up till the end of last year, I was doing like 90, maybe like 80% photography and then like 20% video where it's mostly like just YouTube at that time. And video is going to be the future. So at the start of the year, I bought like a nice video camera, the Sony FX30, which is primarily a video camera with some photo features. And then from January onwards, my whole work just flipped entirely. Now I'm doing like 90% video. Every now and then I'll just take a couple photos. It's the whole landscape of things have changed. Every brand wants like short form videos, and I want to focus more on YouTube, and it's just a video. And that's the whole.
So you're all in. You're all into video now, because it's just where the people are going.
Yeah, they're not like. I still need to use my photography camera for photography projects here and there, but there's just aren't that many. It's just investing in video gear now.
Yeah. Okay, so that means you're a YouTuber now. You are officially a YouTuber.
I wouldn't say officially. If you look at my upload schedule, it's non-existent.
Yeah, but it's you pushed out enough content where your channel's filled and it looks like legit, and what's the word? I think you're pushing them out like not like some other YouTubers every other week, but you're pushing out content which is like really high quality and it looks consistent, looks good compared to some people who are just like whatever. But yeah, it looks good. If you guys are interested, go check out his YouTube channel. We'll probably link it in down below. But looks so great. I think that's like the goal for us to hit that quality. Spend 1 year to make one video and then just shoot. I think that's the formula.
My strategy for YouTube is it's very different to like Instagram. It's like kind of like shoot everything and then just post them. I think for YouTube, for me, it's still one of the platforms that you can prioritize quality over quantity. Or Instagram, people just like post and people forget it. Whereas YouTube, maybe like people in a few years' time, they want to look up a review and they see it and it's like, oh, okay, this guy's been putting in effort in like maintaining quality. And for me, I think my goal has been upload one YouTube video a month. Uh, I have a lot of respect for people who can just churn out like, really good quality videos like weekly,
consistently,
in like, a couple
right?
of days
Yeah.
consistently, because it's tough, especially if you do it by yourself. It's very tough. I think, yeah, it might be time to scale and get it edited.
Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just thinking about that. There's this YouTuber on YouTube. I don't know if you follow her, but her channel is called Life with Riza.
Yeah, she recently blew up on YouTube.
Yeah, and then she does everything. I don't know if it's true, but she does everything by herself, and then it's like very cinematic. She does a great like storytelling. Everything's done so well. She got her first sponsor through Storyblocks, stuff like this. She's blown up, but just her quality, and I like so much respect for her to be able to do all that just by herself and consistently. But I don't know if she does it like, I don't follow her enough where if I know she does every 2 weeks, but I feel like that kind of quality requires like a lot of planning and things like that. So if so, then that's good. It doesn't mean that you have to do it every 2 weeks. I think that as long as it's a schedule where people, if you do it every month, people expect it every month, and that's what they expect.
And I think, yeah, especially when you like make one video a month, when that video gets a 10 out of 10,
yeah,
anxiety just shoots up. It's like, oh man, I did such a bad job on this video.
Really?
Yeah, that's happened. There have been like that just flopped like as soon as I published it, and yeah, it's a balance of making sure the video does well and for the amount of effort you put in.
Yeah, I get it. So since we talked about that, we talked about YouTubers. Is there like a favorite YouTuber that you watch or follow along with?
Favorite YouTuber?
Oh, you don't have to play.
Yes, there is one. Yes, there is one.
Right? It's me.
I love your podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott, you.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you heard him. He's like
I haven't, but now I'm gonna look him up.
He's like a 3D printing, like really good storyteller. He combines both. Yeah, it's just phenomenal videos.
Oh wow, you gotta link it to me because it's not coming up on
Scott Yu or Scott Yuan?
I looked it up in Bing. That's probably the worst place to look things up. Okay, yeah, you can show me later. Is it Eugen? Scott Eugen?
Yeah, I think so. That's him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite creators at the moment. That of the usual kind of people.
This guy, is it the one who did 33 tools that made the cut in 2023?
Yes.
That video, I just saw like a snippet of 23 seconds.
Yeah, I love this stuff. He's a amazing storyteller, especially combining filmmaking with 3D printing. It's like really well produced and well thought out, planned, and yeah, it's just very nice to watch. It's like an experience, even though it's like some of it's like a very informative piece. It's very entertaining to watch, and you don't want to click out of it. So it's like just sucks you in.
Yeah, I mean, that first 23 seconds that I saw, I wasn't even listening to anything. It was just, when you hover your mouse over it, it was like super engaging. I just felt like I want to watch more, but I can't because then Keith here would be just by himself and it would be all the worst interview. We'll watch it together. We should do a YouTube live and he's just watching other YouTubers and complain about our lives and everyone does it so much better.
Someone younger who does it better.
Guys, let me tell you, the worst thing for me at least is two things. One is seeing someone younger doing everything better than you. And then the second one is having people of other races speaking the language of your people better than you do. So there's YouTubers like who they go into those restaurants and order food in the way that I can't.
Very demoralizing.
Yeah. Oh man.
Should have picked up that language.
Yeah. I should listen to my parents and learn my Chinese back in, when I was like playing with my Legos. Well, this got really depressing.
But what's your like level with the Chinese? Is it like beginner, intermediate? Can you speak it or understand it?
So my Chinese is like, okay, so I'm for people who probably don't know, my life is very secretive. I've been married for around 10 years and maybe more. And then my wife is mainland China. So prior to that, my Chinese was terrible. I could probably speak the very, very basics. But after I got married or stayed with my wife for these few years, because she speaks Chinese to me, I'm forced to pick up her Chinese. And it's not even Chinese that I can't, if you talk to me about the meaning of life or the science of something, then it's not happening because I would just blank out. Even talking with other brands in Chinese, it's difficult, but conversational, totally okay. Drop me off in the middle of China. If I didn't get kidnapped by the Chinese government, probably get back okay. And then I would, because I'm learning from my wife, I pick up her cues and the way she speaks. So I speak like her, which is weird and interesting at the same time. What about you?
I'm from Hong Kong. Oh, my parents are from Hong Kong, but I was born in Australia. So in Australia, on weekends, on Saturday, since primary school, I went to Chinese school. And
no, I hate
Cantonese. That. Yeah, just.
So you must be good.
Conversational is okay. I probably can't read or write as well as I used to.
So I can't read or write at all, so it's okay.
And my Mandarin's
we complement each other. Let's just go on a trip through Asia. We can cover mainland China, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Singapore speaks Chinese too, I think, sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. See, there you go. See, that's 4. That's 4 right there. Yeah. And you can read a little bit, so we can go to Japan. They have a little Chinese in there. Some of them.
Tiny bit, yeah. Yeah, it's a
road trip.
Not the greatest level, but I can get by in Hong Kong.
Oh, let me tell you a story. I have a friend in Taiwan he's white, and he speaks fluent Chinese because he's been there, he studies, he's a teacher there. And then obviously I'm not super as fluent as he is. So whenever we go to a restaurant there in Taiwan, we're sitting down and the people are looking at me, expecting me to order. I can't read. So I'm like, and then my friend would order in super fluent Chinese. He would have a conversation. I'm just there fiddling my thumbs, looking at the sky, pretending I only do sign language. So I don't shame my family, myself. But yeah, it's always embarrassing.
Yeah, that's kind of the same story when I went to Shenzhen. I didn't know how to speak to people in Mandarin. I was oh man, it was just rough.
Yeah,
people
it's
translate
tough.
for me, speak for me.
Oh man, yeah, embarrassing. Anyways, wow, this really got depressing. Let's see. All right, so yeah, consistency and quality. We spoke about that. We spoke about so compared to Instagram and YouTube, then what are some of the challenges and rewards of both?
I feel like at this point in time, I feel like YouTube, as much as difficult as it gets, I feel that it's more rewarding than doing Instagram, which is strange to say compared to.
Why do you think it's what's so rewarding about that YouTube? Is it because you spend more time and work on it and you're producing a video content that people can always go back to?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely the most rewarding side. All that time and energy spent on planning and shooting and editing. I think maybe because not many people are doing it these days. I feel like everyone's, the barrier to entry for Instagram is very low. Everyone can just use a smartphone, take photos and talk about and shoot dancing reels and whatnot. I feel like YouTube, the long form content, the skills you need to learn to get someone engaged in your video for 8 minutes straight. Very difficult skill to master. And I feel like I've grown more as a creator doing YouTube for the past 2 years than I have taking photos, talking about gear on Instagram, which is the different kind of comparison.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Instagram was. I feel like when you're younger, Instagram's like cool. Well, okay, when we were younger, Instagram was like a cool thing. But I think as we get older, I think we want something more from. I'm not sure if it's like just wanting to learn more or try different things. Now, as I'm older, I feel like the long form YouTube is something more interesting that I'd like to, in terms of like my business, but also personally, I'm just very interested in the concept of long term, not long form videos. And I think, I don't know, what do you think? Is that as you gotten older, do you think something there that clicked where, oh, I'm more into YouTube because of that?
I think mine was from more of a business or strategy.
Okay. Whoops.
I think
Sounds like a necessity.
Yeah, like Instagram, like that. I think a couple months ago, they were like censoring all these like knife posts, and the whole EDC community was like, "Oh, it's the end is near." For me, I was like, you know what? I'm glad I made the switch to YouTube. As much
Fuck
as
this.
yeah. From like a branding standpoint, I feel like YouTube, it's easier to build a brand. Well, at least for me, I think it's probably worth it compared to Instagram. And I guess back to your point of like kind of long form content. Yeah, I feel like doing something different compared to everyone else. YouTube was like a big thing back in the day, like a couple of years ago. And like everyone was hopping onto it. I didn't hop on it. I was still doing Instagram, taking photos. And then nowadays it's like short form content with reels and stuff. I do it just to get the reach, but I'm really enjoying making the full content. Maybe I'm just slow at stuff.
No, it's interesting because whenever I talk to like other business owners or like watch videos or go to classes or whatever, like for entrepreneur or whatever, people are always like pushing the hustle culture or like just do it. If it's out, just try it and then just commit. But for me, at least for me, I can't do that because then I'm not necessarily burnt out, but I'm not interested or engaged enough in that, whatever that is, whatever that new thing is, to consistently and continuously commit to it. So for me, it feels like there's always like a time in your life where it's the right time for you to switch. And it's not something you can time or like plan for. It's just that moment in time where you're like, you know what, today I really feel like I want to try YouTube, right? And let me just do this first video. I'm going to set up my account. I feel really good about this. I feel really good. And that really applied, even that kind of concept applied to UrbanCred, where I used to sell like Japanese huge products imported from Japan. And I was feeling burnt out towards the end of that cycle. And then I was contemplating UrbanCred, but it wasn't there yet. But it was just like that one like epiphany or just like that one moment in time where I'm like, you know what? I suddenly had the feeling or the urge to really commit to this idea. Let me just shut my old company was Wingbot down. Let me just close the shop down for now and then just stop fulfilling orders and focus on UrbanCred all the way. Now it's like 3 years or 4 years or 5 years and I'm all into this and I don't even do that Wingbot idea anymore. So do you think that's, going back to you, do you think that's something that you felt it wasn't really just a necessity because everyone else was doing it, but it was just felt like the right thing to do at a certain point in time?
I think there's always pressure seeing like everyone else do it. And then you're like, oh, I'm missing out. Maybe I should do it. But I think when I filmed a couple of videos like 4 or 5 years ago when I first attempted at YouTube, and I don't think I was like just ready at that point. Even when I posted like my first few videos, they were horrible. I look back and I just cringe.
All right, time to look it up, guys.
It's only, I think, within not even past year. It's just the past probably like 3 months as I've been making. Like, I'm thoroughly enjoying the process of being in front of the camera. I'm being a lot more comfortable now and presenting and talking about things. And yeah, there's just these phases I go through, and then it's like, oh, okay. I'm glad I kind of gone through the struggles of panicking and anxiety levels just skyrocketing. It's like, oh, why am I
Yeah.
putting myself through all this stress and anxiety just to film some YouTube videos that no one's ever going to see?
Right.
And then I just pushed through it, and I'm really glad I did.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's sort of like what I meant. In the beginning, you did these videos that were awkward and wasn't like greatly shot. But did you continue? Or was that like or you stopped for a period of time and then you started, and then when you started again, it was like done more right because you had more time to prepare or be more experienced?
yeah, so the first time I wasn't prepared at all. I just turned on the camera, press record. 5 minutes into it, I was like panicking. This isn't going great.
This is horrible.
This is horrible. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And then that experience, like, oh man, that turned me away from doing YouTube. I think maybe like about a year, like 6 months. And then I had my friends at Alpaca were like, oh, we're doing Kickstarter. We'd love you to do a review. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I need someone to push me to get back onto YouTube. So I filmed that with a bit more planning. It was okay, but still very awkward. And then from that point, it's been like 2 years just improving, implementing new kind of editing styles and techniques, and yeah, it's getting better.
Yes, that's like what I mean. Like, there's always that first time where you try to force yourself to do it, and then it doesn't work out, and then sometime later, there's like something happens in life, or there's a reason where you're like, okay, let me just try it again, and then it takes off from there. Like that, there's like a moment in time.
Yeah, would you call it like a defining moment?
Yes,
you know what?
yes, that's a good way to say it.
That's the moment where, I don't know, something aligned and just clicks, and you just like just power through and keep improving.
Yeah, and this happens compared to like, which I'm sure it works for some people where they just, oh, let me just try it. Oh, and just keep doing it. Whereas I know that if I was in your situation before for the first video, I would be like discouraged as well. I'd be like, oh, what am I doing? This video's gonna turn out like shit. I'm just gonna stop.
Just sitting in an empty room, just, what am I doing?
It's like all dark. There's no lights, and then you're just like staring at the wall. What is going on?
And the camera's just blinking because it's like running out of battery.
It's running out of battery.
That's how long that's how long you've been sitting out of the room trying to film.
Yeah, exactly. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Those are definitely some interesting challenge, like perspective on a creator's point of view. It's not so easy, is it? So then, would you say this is your passion? I'm assuming this is your passion now.
I think so, yeah. Compared to doing random photography for restaurants and random products and things, yeah, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing now. And content creation has been mind-blowing. I think over the past 3 years, things and opportunities that happen I never thought would have happened in my life. Like 5 years ago, I think I was still shooting for a local wallet brand. And I was talking to the owner. We get inspiration from like other wallet brands like Bellroy, Dango, Pioneer Carry, Ridge Wallet, and all that. And like when I first started this whole EDC content creation stuff, I never thought I'd work with all these brands. Yeah, it's just get bigger, and you can explore new kind of like new avenues of what you can do as a content creator, which was, yeah, it's just things I've never considered were possible, you know, coming from like a just photographer background. But I think one video, I don't watch a whole lot of Peter McKinnon, but there's one video that like I could really resonate with was photography can get you anywhere, I think. Photography isn't, you could do it as your, I guess, your primary job. But for me, it was using it as a tool, as a medium to get to other things I want to do, which was like everyday carry and like exploring other kind of like designs and things. So that was one thing that really spoke to me. It's like, that's pretty much what I did. Started photography as like a business, and then slowly pivoted to focusing and documenting my passions and interests. Just spiraling to...
spiraling downwards into
opportunities.
depression. No, I'm just kidding. No,
That's
yeah. No, that's legit. I think it's always cool to hear the actual creator's like thought process and how he feels about the journey. And to talk about journey, I know that you recently went to Hong Kong for not specifically for work, but it just happened where Abel Carey, I think, reached out, or you reached out to Abel Carey, or how did that work? Like, what happened there? Like, how was that experience?
Oh yeah, I had a friend who worked at Able Carry. I kind of met him through Instagram. The power of social media, just
Yeah.
meeting new people. I think that's, as much as I don't like using Instagram, and like the best thing about it is the people I've met on there. There are so many talented and knowledgeable people, and I would learn stuff, and we're exchanging ideas and concepts, and it's just been the fun place, like especially in the DMs.
You
And
totally
I kind of
slid
met-
into their DMs.
pretty much, and then we just making friends on Instagram, and
Right.
yeah, just happened to meet someone who worked at Able Carry, and then I told her, I'm coming to Hong Kong. Can I stop by the studio and check out your workspace and see what you guys are cooking? And that's how I stopped by and met the owners and the wonderful team there. It was a very, very good experience, and I think I'm very appreciative of Able Carry for kind of showing me around, because I don't think they let any random kill me. So I got the behind the scenes and like the whole photography setup and
Wow.
like prototypes. Yeah, it's just
That must have been really exciting.
And it was very exciting. It was like a whole new experience, seeing like the team and hearing about their kind of like philosophy on design. And when I went there with my backpack, I was like, oh, you know what? I really like this backpack. There's this small issue with where the straps were pinching my neck if I worn it for too long. And one of the prototype guys told me to put it on, and they got like a ruler and they measured, okay, you're wearing this backpack too high. That's why it's pinching your neck. Okay, I need to loosen the strap a bit, have it sit lower on my back. Even though I don't like it sitting on my lower back, I like it sit high and tight. Yeah, it's just learning from like the masters who have been doing it, I don't know, for like 10, 15, 20 years. Yeah,
I thought you were gonna say like the designers came out, they threw their coffee on the floor, they're like, get out! You don't like our bags now. That's cool that they're like able to go to you and just like instantly figure out what the problem was.
Yeah, okay. They've done it for a long time.
I know.
I'm just a random guy who just talks about bags who know nothing. And
I'll cut that out. Should I cut that out? Kifro knows everything, guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
I think that's the beauty of it, because I'm still new. There's so much I don't know about, and I'm still learning. And I think the Hong Kong trip, besides Able Carry, I also got to visit a few other brands. Grams 28, which is like a leather brand, like product brand based in Hong Kong. They were really cool, and hear his kind of philosophy on like leather goods and learning about leather. That was very interesting as well. And alpaca as well. That was another mind-boggling experience, seeing factories in Shenzhen, the whole design and R&D and prototype, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, that whole trip to Hong Kong and Shenzhen just completely blew my mind. It's like, what am I doing with life?
Oh, you do something. You're doing.
It's like you just open my eyes to seeing like how things work behind the scene. Yeah, it's just a very inspiring trip, and just really showed me what I should be doing or can be doing in the future. Yeah, that's what I want to do in the future, and just diving deeper and deeper in the world of everyday carry, which is going from like product reviewing to dabbling into prototyping, design, learning all the intricacies of the business side, and there's a whole new world I've just experienced. Okay, I gotta learn this.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to be able to see and hear the perspective, not just of people, but like of different industries. That's kind of the reason why I started this podcast, is just to kind of really see, the stories, but also like the perspective of other people and other businesses. And it's really interesting, actually, just to, regardless if it's bag design or carry a product prototyping or logistics or manufacturing, to like even food or coffee shops or the nuances of pulling an espresso and grinding coffee and et cetera, et cetera. Like these kind of like different industries have so many small details to them that it's interesting to, that you just wouldn't know unless you were there or they were there to tell you what they were like. So yeah, it's totally I can see why you're so like blown away.
Yeah, I watched your podcast. Was it with Dan Matsuda of Matsuda Tad? Yeah, that was like a really interesting podcast. I was like hearing his story of like kind of his journey and getting into like product design and stuff.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
I think that's one thing about it. Like hearing about other industries is always a good thing because it's like finding inspiration. It's like seeing how other industries do one thing. It's like you need to understand why they're doing it and what are some other kind of ways they can do it, but they choose not to, and can like maybe implement it in some other way within your industry, or like business processes or like manufacturing processes. It's like, okay, this is why they do it this way, and how could I implement it in my area of like, expertise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think
inspiration.
Yeah, I think that, especially this day and age, I think that even with all this tech and all this like social media, I think it's people in general are like more secluded and from the rest of the world than before. So being able to look into these kind of industries from different perspectives opens up new ideas and where you could improve your own, like where you're from. I think for like UrbanCred, how like food and restaurants work, sometimes I think now we're like considering maybe incorporating some kind of mixed, like a hybrid version of our shop in the future. Not necessarily just retail, but like something where it's more than that. It's more experience, but more, I don't know, we're still working things out. So it's really to have different perspectives, to be there, to see different industries really helps open doors to new opportunities.
Yeah, like coffee shop, UrbanCred with a coffee shop. And like a
urban coffee
group. Yeah, you can do meetups and do like workshops there.
No, yeah. And you can sleep there, and then we can do an Airbnb coffee, UrbanCred, strip show. Cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see where you take UrbanCred because nowadays I feel like there aren't too many like everyday carry like retailers like around the world. I feel like each country there's probably like just one or two like the big players.
Yeah,
so it's very exciting to see like a new retailer brand rise up to the ranks.
Yeah, well, I don't know about rising to the ranks, but we're kind of like floating along. Like, I think hiking is probably the better word. Like slowly hiking up the mountain, where everyone else is already on top of Everest. But yeah, I feel the same. I feel like we need more places to shop and more people geek out about with.
Yeah, like before I did this whole everyday carry content stuff, I heard of the term everyday carry, but I wasn't like down this rabbit hole, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm just like a random odd guy who likes looking at backpacks and I don't know, some gadgets.
Yeah, just
turns
like
out there's a whole world of
stuff. Yeah, a whole world of geeks and nerds.
And carry experts out there, and it's like, okay, I'm not the only one. And
yeah, they worry about like the pinching of necks when you wear the backpacks. Must be just us.
Not me, who's just looking at the finer details.
Yeah,
appreciating design. So yeah.
Hey, you never know what kind of like. I don't know. I was just saying, you never know, like how many people are out there who's interested in what you're doing. You're saying?
Oh, I was just saying, it's always good to have new kind of avenues for people to get or learn, like the whole carry side of things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, how's your pop-up shop? Because do you get like non-carry people come in? Oh, like, why do I get this X-Pac bag when I get like a Jan Sport or like a Nike bag that does the job? And
my god,
the material cost and it's just
it's hard to explain. Yeah, it's really hard to explain. So our pop-up is located on the cusp of Soho and Chinatown. And oh, by the way, this is a quick fun fact. I don't know if there's a lot of Sohos popping up around the world, but for people who don't know, Soho actually means south of Houston Street. So so it's like that's because that area is south of Houston. So I think in Asia there's a lot of Sohos popping up, but it doesn't. There's no meaning. It's like
no Houston Street.
Yeah, it's like very bougie and like very high end, and it's not that. It's Anyways, a little tidbit there, fun fact. So we get a lot of tourists, and then when tourists come by, that's like they're not really into the thing, but they see the bags, they think, oh, it's really cool, and then the price point's like what $200-$300, and they're like, oh god, okay, maybe next time, maybe. But we do get like the occasional people who like appreciate, who know, who aren't even in the space, who totally understand, is willing to pay the price for quality. And then we do get people who are from the techwear space, and then from like, or even our carry space, who come and, oh, I love this stuff. I think this is great. I think it's cool. So once like those guys come around, it's totally fun to geek out with them. It's just not fun trying to explain to the people who don't understand the reasoning why it's so expensive. Yeah.
Is like, do you have like a script or like main key points where like you need to talk to them about, try to inform them? These are the reasons why this expat bag costs more than like rip stuff.
Yeah, I put up like a PPT, a PowerPoint, and then I go through the list. I have them sit down for an hour, and I'm saying, this is why you should get this. No, it's hard. Once I start X-Pack, YKK, waterproof, it goes over their head. They just like, it's because like I know they're not going to buy it, right? They ask about it, but I know 100% or 99% sure I know they're not going to buy it. But I did have I'm not going to say old, but like a little bit. She's older than me, and then she came and she was asking about the Code of Bell X case backpack, which is like a convertible between like I think like a tote and a backpack. And then she's just asking, oh, I think this bag is cool. How much is it? Oh, actually, she didn't ask how much. She was like, oh, this is cool. She's like, I love compartments in my bags. I was like, yeah. I went over with her. It's like I had a lot of compartments, organization. It's really cool. And she picked it up. She bought it even without even asking how much the price is. So you really don't know who's really interested in that kind of product in the retail space. You don't know who's going to buy your stuff. So it's really interesting to see in that aspect. Hey guys, Eddie from UrbanCred. Just wanted to say that the episode indeed was a little bit long. So today we're going to be cutting it down to 2 episodes. So you're hearing the half end of it. We're going to be uploading the other half in a few days. So just stay tuned, and then thank you for listening until now. Stay tuned for the next part. Peace out, guys.